Actually, I was really struggling with my DI section. I mean, even if you'd see my scorecard of 645, I really lagged upon my DI section. So post that, I mean, during my attempt, I thought that, again, my accuracy was also an issue, and again, timing was also an issue. After I got a 645, I realized that questions are tackleable. It's just that I need to practice upon them so that I can, one, build accuracy, and then while I build accuracy, I can, improve the time of, how much time I take of solving the questions. It was then I solved, all the post work sets that were available on the portal and all the sectional tests of DI. And then I finally, achieved a 95 percentile in DI. So yeah, quants and verbal were not majorly an issue for me, but my major issue was DI. So yeah. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you? Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Heartiest congratulations on your NCEAD and LBS admit. How do you feel about it?
It feels great. I mean, it still feels surreal for some time, I believe. So yeah, it feels good.
Yes, Vanshika, and we are so glad that we could be a cog in the wheel in your entire journey of getting an admit from NCEAD and LBS. As we can see on the screen, you've been able to score a 695 with a phenomenal 100 percentile score on quantitative reasoning. So,
Yeah.
how did it feel when you first saw this score appear on the screen?
To
We
be
could
very
start by that,
honest,
I think.
I mean, I was not expecting such a good score. In fact, while I was solving a few questions, the final section was actually DI. So at that point of time, I thought that, I'd basically messed up in a few questions. But again, when the score came, I was very glad that, it's great. I mean, so yeah.
Yes, a lot of our students, I think every student that I have to ask, I think it is test day that they really improve on their score somehow and
Yeah.
are able to get that because I think it's also got to do a lot with how things sit so well in your subconscious that things
I
automatically happen on test day.
Right, right. Because again, the exam is an adaptive test. You tend to think about, what happened in the previous question and, what is the difficulty level of your current question. So you often, apart from solving the question, it is also the story that goes behind in your mind. So yeah.
Yes, very understandable. So you could start by telling us something about yourself, what is your background, and what led you to actually start preparing for the GMAT.
So actually, I'm a final year graduate student of Bachelor's of Management Studies. I'm pursuing my majors in finance from Delhi University, Sri Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce. I've actually, during my school days in class 11th and 12th, I really wanted to study abroad. But at that point of time, I thought that it's always better to, start with your hometown for graduation. And then, you can always build upon your skills and knowledge, and then you can move abroad. So it was around January. I thought that, I can start preparing for GMAT and then I look forward to an MIM or maybe an MBA. But then I thought that, okay, let's jump forward to MIM because I mean, I'm not ready fully for pursuing a full-time job. So yeah.
So adding on to that, I think it makes more financial sense to pursue a 2 years
Yeah,
program rather than a 3 or a 4 year commitment.
of course.
Yes. So what led you to start pursuing your journey with top?
I actually had my basically that onboarding session with Sonal, and she introduced me to a few free question answer round, and I guess a few videos of Sandeep sir as well. That was relatively small videos, but actually how he taught. I mean, he used to have some sort of tricks that he used to identify through his questions, and I thought that again. I had a limited time of preparation, so I thought, that these tips and tricks will actually help me in preparing for my journey and, help me achieve a better score.
Yes, I believe that one thing that really stood out for me was the expanse of the course, the comprehensiveness with
Right.
which everything is so well covered. And I think in questions like time, speed, distance, it's really important to have those toolkits and those tricks which would really help you save a couple of seconds, which is going to translate to a massive jump in your score when it comes to addressing the entire section, right?
Fact,
So
it was not just that, but how the entire self-paced course is designed. I mean, you'd look at the sheet. I mean, how everything is written in very detailed manner about the pre-work, post-work, and the videos column. You'll actually have a very comprehensive idea of, what you have to do, how you have to do, and what basically is, the bridge or the course process that you have to follow in between. So yeah, I mean, the comprehensiveness of the course and how you have to follow it is just great.
yes, I completely agree. Sandeep sir has done his due diligence in
Right.
structuring the course so well that at least that goes out of the way, that you don't have to sit and decide what are you going to
Right.
address.
Who next?
And if you're able to commit to the process and actually take every advice that sir has to give with 100% conviction, then the process really works out well. It has happened with so many other students as well, that students also come telling us that it's been the structure that has helped them the most.
Right.
So, Vanchika, I heard that you improved from a 645 to a 695. Is that also true?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, how much, I mean, what changed in this attempt ever since you scored a 645? How did you approach um, score improvement from there to get a massive, say, 40-point jump in your score? Could you
Well,
touch upon that?
actually, I was really struggling with my DI section. I mean, even if you'd see my scorecard of 645, I really lagged upon my DI section. So, post that, I mean, during my attempt, I thought that, again, my accuracy was also an issue, and again, timing was also an issue. After I got a 645, I realized that questions are tackleable. It's just that I need to practice upon them so that I can, one, build accuracy, and then while I build accuracy, I can, improve the time of, how much time I take of solving the questions. It was then I solved, all the post work sets that were available on the portal and all the sectional tests of DI. And then I finally, achieved a 95 percentile in DI. So yeah, quants and verbal were not majorly an issue for me, but my major issue was DI. So yeah,
So, and
I
how much of a jump are we talking in DI?
I don't really remember, but I guess it was previously 45 percentile and finally it's 95 percentile. So yeah, approximately 50 percentile.
Okay, so while you were booking the first examination, didn't you go in thinking that you've not upon your DI as much? Were you getting the kind of scores that you desired on test day on the official oblique, the top marks?
Actually, I was struggling a bit with my timing issue at that point of time. Accuracy was not that issue, but while I was solving, on the D day, I realized that both of them could be improved better. And again, I had this thing in mind that I'll solve it at the very end. However, अब क्या होता है? While you're solving any section at the end, your mind already gets a bit of tired, and you're not in the very best frame of
Flow
mind at
state.
yeah, flow states, right. So at that point of time, I realized that, I need to do more of practice and yeah, so
Yes, and that is a recommendation that Sandeep sir has for all students. I think that is why we've incorporated long sittings, because it is
right.
counterintuitive, and a lot of other test prep instructors across the world have to say that you shouldn't study for the GMAT for more than 3 hours in a day. But Sandeep sir has a very contrary opinion, and he says that towards the end of the week, when you find that time, you should sit for 9 hours straight at a stretch.
I
That
completely
really helps.
agree. Even in case of DI, I legit solved around 4 to 5 sectional tests in one day. Then I took on the post work sets, 3 to 4 post work sets in one day. I basically completed the pre work sets, post work sets, and the DI section sets within a span of 1 week.
Wow, that is
And
commendable.
I completely
And this was alongside managing your college.
right,
So
right,
let's
right.
touch upon some time management aspect of things. Keeping yourself motivated throughout the journey can become incredibly difficult, and balancing work with other commitments and GMAT prep can also be really, really challenging. So how did you ensure that sort of discipline and consistency? Because I'm sure without consistency, GMAT, you cannot break the 695 barrier, and you've been able to do that. So I'm sure that you would have stayed consistent. But how were you able to keep yourself motivated to achieve that sort of consistency?
Well, I believe in case of, I mean, I don't really rely on motivation. I'm more sort of a person, that you have to do something basically. And when you do one specific topic for a span of like, completely 1 week or 10 days or more, you tend to get that, exhaustion in yourself. So what I used to do was I used to touch upon every day two topics. For example, if I'm touching upon quant and DI section today, then tomorrow I'll repeat one more section and then I'll take on verbal. Basically, in the sense, you one do not get exhausted, plus you actually have a touch upon all the three topics of GMAT and every course of time. So this was actually one of the things I did so that I don't exhaust myself, and I can basically stay in touch with all the topics.
So in terms of the material that you covered, what all material did you address across your GMAT preparation?
I actually completely did this Quant 700 to 800 PDF. I completed the RC 700 to 800 PDF, and I did all the sets that were available on portal for DI. I was actually good at CR, so I didn't practice much of that. But RC and Quant 700 to 800 PDFs were just great. I mean, part one and part two होता है RC PDF में, so I did those and all the DI sets.
Great, that's very inspiring to hear. And you addressed the top portal comprehensively, or did you pick and select the tests that you would be covering? And what all, how did you blend the mock test preparation into your entire scheme of things?
I actually completed all the DI sectional tests. Apart from that, verbal tests, verbal mocks, I did not do all of them. I did around four to five of them. And I did a few long sittings for CR. Actually, I had completed RC 700 to 800 PDFs that made me a bit confident on RC, and which is why when it came to Portal, I switched to practicing CR. And with quants again, I completed all the sectional tests that were available. Topic-wise tests, I did not do much because again, I had completed all the sectional tests previously. And as far as the full-length mocks were concerned, I did around six to seven of them from
Six
the
to
top.
seven. That's wonderful. So, were there any other mocks that you relied upon, like the official mocks?
Yeah, I did two of the two free mocks that the mb.com provides. I did both of them.
Yes. So, if you're able to, in a very competitive time frame, if you're able to deal with the top mocks, I think the official mocks become very, very easy for you.
Very easy. Right, right, right.
And as it reflects on your score as well, that you've been able to score a quant 90, I'm sure you would have
You seem
breezed through
like a
the section.
cakewalk once you've done the GMAT, the top 1% mocks. Once you do that, and then once you shift to the mb.com mocks, they actually seem like a cakewalk to you.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. So let's talk about the testing experience. Were you thrown off by something on the test day? Was there any question that really stumped you? And or did you feel that the course comprehensively covered and touched upon all the topics that were tested on test day?
No, no, I completely agree that every question that I stumbled upon the test day, I had, previously seen that question, basically, at least I wouldn't say that question maybe, or the topic I had basically touched upon everything that actually came on my test day, whether it was verbal, quant, or DI, everything had been, done very well. So yeah.
And talking about your other sections, you've already touched upon DI. Have you ever always been so confident in quant that you'd been scoring 90, or was it a journey for you to ramp up your score to a Q90?
I wouldn't say again that was a journey in case of quants because if you'd see in my first attempt as well, I scored a perfect Q90 in quants, right? Verbal was a bit of issue, so yeah, that I improved gradually through the 700 to 800 PDFs.
That's all that it took for you to improve.
Again, the 700, 800 PDFs in case of RC and the CR long sittings. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what it
great. That's wonderful. So yes, Vanchika, at a later stage, if there is someone who's watching this video, what are the do's and don'ts that you would want to recommend to them to kind of look at the GMAT as a comprehensive test to address?
The very first thing that I would tell the students is to, completely follow what is mentioned in the self-paced Excel sheet. As in, do each and everything in the very manner how it is structured and written in the sheet. If it is written in the pre-work, you must do it before you jump to the video or the post-work. I had a word with a few students over LinkedIn and they said that we did not do the pre-work, we jumped directly to the videos and the post-work, and then they said we were not getting our desired accuracy. Then I told them actually it is structured this way so that you can achieve that 70 to 80% accuracy in case of post work and videos. So you should actually follow that entire plan very comprehensively, and basically उस टाइम पर अपना दिमाग मत लगाओ, जो लिखा है ना उसको फॉलो करो. And once you've completed the life course, you can always decide upon the way you want to process your journey forward. The second aspect that I would tell the students is that while you are on your test day, don't think about what happened with the previous question. See, again, as I previously mentioned, the exam is adaptive. You often tend to think about that this is a difficult question or this is an easier question. Maybe I got my previous question wrong, which is why I have a easy question right now in front of me. Don't stress upon that too much. You never know what GMAT tests on that day, and which is basically the what is basically the correct answer. Don't fret upon that. Just solve all the questions in a calm manner and have water, have faith in yourself, and you'll go through it very well. So yeah.
Great, Vanchika. That was such a great value addition. I'm sure anyone who would listen to this at a later stage would certainly have to draw a lot of inspiring things from our conversation. And Sandeep sir and all the other teammates at top 1% are extremely proud of your phenomenal 695 score, and wishing you all the best. Have you made a decision of which school would you be joining?
Yeah, I'll be joining INSEAD.
Great, that's wonderful. So let's keep in touch then, and congratulations once again. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, take care.